Hello, hello. Welcome to BGTV Studios and Me Too Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Jones. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, I'd just like to share with you guys, if you see something that you please like, share, tell a friend. And there's about 44 different podcasts on BGTV Studios that you can check out. So please pray for our other podcasts. If you'd like to be part of this ministry, you'd like to help us out financially, there are several ways where you can do that. You go to our website, bgtvstudios.com. You can Venmo, or you can do the Cash App. Any of those, you can help be part of what's going on here at BGTV Studios. We appreciate your prayers, and we appreciate you watching. Tonight, we got a friend of ours hanging out with us, going to share his testimony with us a little bit. Would you introduce yourself to our friends?
Yeah, Scott. My name is Donny Cates. I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ, and I celebrate recovery from 23 years of addiction, and happy to be here.
23 years of addiction.
23 years.
Wow, man, that's a lifetime.
Yeah, it seemed like a lifetime.
A rough lifetime, right?
Yeah, it's very rough. Yes.
So we had your lovely bride on not too long ago. She
Yeah.
came down here and shared with us. I've seen where the ministry is taken off.
Yes.
That's awesome. I'm super excited.
Very busy.
I would imagine. I would
very
imagine.
busy.
I would imagine. A lot of long days down there working, huh?
Yeah, a lot of long days for her. I basically just help out wherever I can. You know, I'm kind of the gopher. Like, hey, we got to move this, or hey,
You're just a muscle.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to kind of let everybody get a chance to know you a little bit. Like I share with everyone that comes on, I know that people relate to me, but there's some that don't.
Yeah.
And there's going to be someone that watches that I relate with Donny. Donny went through what I went through. And so that's why I think it's so important that we have different people on here to share their stories, their experiences, because everybody's not the same. Drugs is not a cookie cutter thing. It's all over people have really been down there. We were talking a little bit before we went on air. There's some things that you've experienced that I haven't experienced, and so there's going to be guys that would join in with you going, yeah, me too, Donny. Yeah. And so that's the reason for the name of the podcast, right?
Yes.
So did you guys go to church when you were kids? Were you involved in church?
No, we did not. I lived in a small little community that we had a church and a fire station and a bar and a store. That was it. It was mostly a farming community. But we didn't go to service, but I was a part of a group called Awana, which was for youth on Wednesday nights. And so it was, I was a part of that for a while.
Okay.
But church service, no.
Church, bar, and a store. That's
fire station to put the fire
out.
Station,
that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
And one stop sign, right?
Or
at least a whoa sign.
A yield sign, I think, is all we had.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and where's that at?
This was up in Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't realize you was from far off. You ain't from around here.
I don't sound like it. I've been here a little longer than I guess most that move from up north. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm from up there.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So when did drugs kind of come into the scene?
They come in at an early age. It was mainly very little marijuana and just a little alcohol from time to time whenever I can get my hands on it. But it wasn't much up. This was up in Washington, and when I moved down here to Alabama and I started getting older, I would say that I was pretty much full throttle into it at the age of, I would say, 17.
Okay.
17.
Your lovely bride is saying hello to you. Yeah. I'm not even going to ask you about Bookie.
Bookie.
We'll leave that alone. We'll leave that between you two.
Yeah, it's our little saying we have since we've been together.
Yeah.
We just kind of come up with that, and it stuck. So yeah.
So you said about 17. You said
about 17 is when I was introduced to cocaine. I think is a starting point. Well, marijuana and alcohol, of course, was a starting point.
Right.
But where the gas pedal hit the floor, I think was cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the age of 17.
And then that started a 23-year process.
Yeah, I've kind of included the 23 years in with the alcohol and marijuana, the little
Okay,
usage.
okay,
So
okay.
that's a starting point. But where it come in full throttle was 17. So, but I always include just kind of basically where it started.
Okay.
So really, if you want to think about, I think the first time I tried marijuana, I was, gosh, probably 11.
Mm.
Probably 11 for the first time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was probably 13. A friend of mine stole some from his mom and shared it with his friends. So doesn't like your good friends.
That's
right?
kind of the same situation. My friend's parents, I think they grew it. I never saw it with my own eyes, but I'm just going off what my friend said.
Mm-hmm.
But he would go in there and get a little bit from them from time to time, and that's kind of what we did too. So.
Right, right. And so, how did this progress? Did it take off really quick? You said that's when the pedal hit the floor. So
17,
Yeah.
yeah. So of course, never having had, how should I put it, a drug that amps you up like that. It just it seemed to be like on the weekends to start, and then it kind of would work its way into the week, and it was all doing that with the guys that I work with.
Right.
So we were always around each other, weekends, weekdays, and it just kind of just snowballed. So.
sounds like construction work.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I did a little roofing when I was younger, and the guys would pick me up in the morning, and they're already smoking. And we'd get up on the roof, and they're still smoking. And then
Yeah.
the first break at 9, they're drinking, and I almost fell off a roof, and I was like, I can't hang with you guys.
Yeah,
But construction is notorious for being
it
a
is.
battleground for Satan.
Yeah. No accountability. A lot of them you don't get drug tested unless you
Right.
get hurt for
Right.
workers' comp
Right.
purposes. So, yeah.
Right. And so I know that there's, you said there was some prison time involved. So
Yeah.
how did we get to that point?
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So, cocaine, went for a while. That venture, I know cocaine and crack is pretty much the same thing, just different ways of doing it. And then I got involved with a friend of mine that actually knew how to make methamphetamines, and I looked at it as, I was like, wow, you can take this little bit amount of money and you can make this amount of money. And I was just fascinated with it. I was like, this is a quick, easy way to make money. And so I ventured off into that. I had about a 2-year run with that. I bet you I was probably high every day. And then, of course, there was other things that went along with that. For some reason, that drug will trigger like a klepto in you. Like I stole everything. I just, and so what landed me in prison was, of course, my own stinking thinking. But I was in possession. I was in a county, in Shelby County to be exact, and stuff was getting really, really hot in that area. And so I was like, I think I need to go. And so I loaded up all my belongings plus stolen items that I'd stole over the period of months on a stolen trailer, and I was trying to get out of there. Well, this whole time there were some people watching me because of a dirt bike that me and another guy that I was friends with in the area had stolen, and me and him got into it, and of course he went and told them people, hey, I know where your dirt bike is. So anyway, that put some heat on me, and then I ended up going to getting caught up on the way out, and I had all kinds of chemicals and paraphernalia and a couple of guns and on a stolen truck. I mean, it was just they had a field day with it, and that landed me in prison with a 10-year sentence with a Class A felony and a theft of property and furs. So that's where my prison stuff began.
Okay. And so, how long was that an issue with you as far as getting out of prison, getting back in, going?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I did roughly maybe just a little bit over 2 years, or a little under. I can't really remember exact, but. So I got out on parole. Like I had, you get a timesheet when you go to prison, you get a timesheet, and usually it'll have a parole date and stuff on there. It's kind of got your charges and all that information about you on there. Well, I had nothing. It was like 0, 10 years day for day. That was very scary. And then, of course, you got prison lawyers. And I paid a guy a pack of cigarettes that wrote me a motion to send to the parole board, and he got me a parole date. So I actually went back and gave him another pack of cigarettes and some coffee for for doing that for me. And it landed me in work release. I got out. I was out for about 11 months. And I started out at the Foundry for 6 months, and then I went back home, and I jumped right back into the same mess with the thought of, well, I won't manufacture it no more. I'll just do it, and I'll kind of stay in the shadows, and everything will be okay. But I was still stealing stuff. So like I said, 11 months later, I went right back to prison for 3 years this time. Yeah.
Okay. And so, where did God grab hold of you at? How did that come about?
Okay, so once I got out, actually before I got out, I was in an honor dorm, and I was like, man, things have really got to change. There's things that I need to change in my life. I don't need to be coming back here again, being a third timer. So I started making goals while I was in prison, and started thinking about different things that I can do. I got out, or I went to work release again, same work release that I was at the last time, which was odd. But and then I went back to the Foundry, to the reentry program they had, and so.
If at first you don't succeed, right?
Yeah. So anyway, and then that's kind of where I met Amy at the job that I got at a thrift store there in Bessemer, and I actually had a relapse. I had a relapse about almost a year into our relationship. Okay, once that happened, it was very, very messy. I was about to throw away everything that I worked hard for, and a loving, godly woman that loved me very much, that cared so much for me. I was about to throw that away. And she actually told my parole officer, which it's funny now, but when it happened, it was, I was madder than a hornet, and I was so mad. But so that was the turning point. I was 2 days sober before she told my parole officer, and the reason why I was sober is because I got sold some bad stuff. It scared me to death. It was like, if it's come to this, I quit. So anyway, I was 2 days sober, and then my parole officer, of course, drug tested me. I was dirty. 6 months color code, accountability. Okay, I went past that with flying colors. But while I was doing color code, celebrating recovery, and so having to get the signatures, a lot of people can relate to that. Right. But getting those signatures and going to Celebrate Recovery, that's where my eyes were open. I was starting to see people that have been doing this for a while, just how happy they were. I was witnessing miracles with kids being reunited with their mothers, families getting back together, watching the parents of the people that are coming to Celebrate Recovery coming with them and realizing they got situations they need to work on. Just all the miracles.
Was this at 180?
Yeah, this was at 180
Man,
Church.
I've had so many members of 180 come on the show. I love that church so much. They're such good people. They came and served our guys last night, and they do a service for us as well as feed the guys. And the way y'all welcome our men, it's just incredible.
We love them to death, man.
We love
them to death. They're good guys.
We couldn't do what we do without the help of good churches like 180. We've got a lot of good partners that help us, but 180 is definitely one of the you walk the walk and talk the talk at 180, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of that church, and just super nice people. Gresh and Scott both have been on the show with me, and of course Amy, and so and Leo was on it as well, and so we just had a lot of members of 180, and so it's just really cool to see how God has surrounded you with such good people.
It's a lot of miracles at that church.
Oh man,
and what I love most about it is, even in my mess, when I had that relapse, nobody condemned me. Nobody pointed fingers at me. They just loved on me. They loved me through it, and I have so much respect for so many people there.
Yeah.
That church was founded off of recovery.
Right.
And
right.
so I've seen miracle after miracle after miracle, and it just and people are attracted to that. You know, it's
Yeah.
we want to do right.
Right.
You know, so
Well, you know, and the fact that the church is built off of people in recovery, you're going to get that grace and that love that
yeah,
you need because, you know, as much as I love the church, they don't know how to deal with addicts.
yeah,
I remember my grandmother, godly woman, prayed. She's the reason I'm where I am because she prayed for me for so long.
it's awesome.
And actually, the first Sunday that I stood up in front of a church and delivered a Sunday message, she was sitting on the front row,
Wow.
big cheesy grin on her face, you know. And afterwards, she said, "That's what we've been praying for, ain't it, baby?" I said, "That's what you've been praying for. I have not wanted to do this. This scared me to death, you know." But I remember her telling me or saying to me one time, she said, "Just quit, baby. Just quit." And I was like, "Yeah, it don't really work like that, but thank you, you know." And so that's the mentality of somebody that's never done it.
Yeah,
And when you're in a situation with people that's been there, done that, and they go, "Yeah, he can't just quit.
no,
It's not that easy. He needs to be loved into the grace of God, and God will take away his desires."
that's right.
And you can't teach that. You have to experience that. And so, what you experienced at 180 was people giving back to you what was given to them.
Yeah,
You know, and that's a beautiful thing.
very beautiful.
You know, I can't say enough how much I love that church, man. That y'all are some good people. And we got guys that have graduated the program that are still going
Yeah.
to 180, and they still stop by from time to time. Hopefully they're watching the show, but you know, you guys have really rolled out the red carpet for our guys and been just
We love
gracious.
having them. You know, I go to small group on Friday night and just listening to them share and that was another thing I noticed too was it started at the old church. You know, the guys coming in from Brother Brian and they come in, they're just broken. They're you know, but every Friday it seemed like their smile get a little bigger, a little bigger. They open up a little more, and that's the miracle. You know, that's why I serve on leadership at 180 Church at Celebrate Recovery is because of those miracles. Being
Right.
able to witness that's like a high in itself.
Yeah.
Watching God work is just I'm sold out on.
Yeah, I share with the guys all the time. I now live the high that I sought for so long.
Yeah,
That I never could quite obtain. I couldn't figure out why can't I get it. It's just right out of reach.
Yeah.
I now live it every day. You know, the highs and lows of what I do, the highs are so much higher than the lows. You know.
Amen.
Now, at the lows, my first 10 years at Brother Brian, I buried 9 men.
Wow.
But I've also baptized as many, and was able to marry one or perform the ceremony. I didn't, you know. But, you know, those and watching guys reunite with their families and get their children back. And, you know, I've had guys come in my office and just boo-hoo that, you know, mom won't answer the phone. My ex-wife won't let me talk to the kids. And then the next thing you know, hey, man, come down here. I want you to meet my kids and my mother. You
You
know?
got to give it time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, so you start going to 180, and God does a number on you.
Yes, it just
Transform you.
radically. I mean, it was just it wasn't something that happened overnight. It took some years, you know, but he just slowly started working on me. I think one of the first trust things was where I just totally surrendered. I like we talked about earlier. You said, you know, well, I've tried everything else. That's kind of what I did. You know, I've done everything else. I've tried to quit on my own. I've tried, you know, talking to other people. I've never given God a try.
Right.
So that was the time. You know, I totally submitted, and then with the trust, I think one of the first things with trusting was when I started tithing was one of them, and I was always skittish about that. Not with 180 Church, thinking like, oh, all they want is your money and stuff. But you know, it was man, I've got bills to pay. I've got to pay all this stuff. And when I finally surrendered that, you know, on Friday, as soon as I get paid, I'd surrender it. And man, he started pouring in side jobs and all this, and it was just like, which kept me very busy. And now I've totally slacked off all that. But yeah, he just totally blessed every bit of it, and it, you know, and so I wanted more. I was like, you know, I was just more curious. Right. So I started digging in, started reading my Bible more, you know, and it's just been amazing.
Well, Amy's got all the side jobs you need over there at the ministry.
Yeah, she does. She sure does. And we just got started, you know. So I'm excited about all this with the ministry.
So it's Turning Point
Ministries, yes.
And it's for women.
For women,
okay,
yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
I've got a chaplain that used to work for us, and his wife would always come to me and say, "When are we opening up a Sister Brian's?" Because she wanted to come to work, but she couldn't go to work at Brother Brian's, and she said, "Well, let's open a Sister Brian's," and so very much needed. You got Love Lady, and there's some other smaller organizations down in Shelby County where I live, but this is much needed, and it's awesome.
It is, and I hope one day that it blossoms, you know, into a men's recovery house too. You know, I mean, of course, separate locations, but
right.
But you know, God's in the business of miracles, and I truly believe that.
There you go. Gary's on here.
Gary,
hey buddy. Gary's been on the show. I forgot about Gary a while ago when I was naming everybody off. I knew I was going to forget somebody. I almost didn't want to start naming names because you always forget somebody. I forgot my buddy. My brother, Gary there, we not only do we share the same last name, but our wives both are named Jamie. And so,
oh, wow.
So that's something we've laughed about. And
I love Gary to death. He is such a good guy. You know, he's always somebody I can talk to.
Yeah.
Like all the way 100.
Yeah, he's always there for our guys, and super nice guy. Your pastor's a little strange, you know. But.
Yeah, I tell you what though, I grew up with Chris, you know, and so he took the step into recovery before I did. He tried to pull me in, and of course I just, you know, you have to be ready for that.
Yeah. And
so, but I think I went to a couple of meetings with him, but that's about as far as it got, you know. And he is, I look up to him so much as a mentor. Looking back to where we used to be at, and then where we're at today, and when I see him up there preaching the word, my heart just smiles every time, because you know, sometimes I'm not saying I reminisce, but sometimes I go back to where we were, and then I'm just like, look at him now.
Yeah.
You know, look at what God's
look
done.
what God's done. That's awesome. I mean, because he is such a humble person.
Yeah.
And we've actually had guys come through the program that knew Gresh back in the day, and they're like, not the same person.
Totally different.
You would not want to know him back then, you know.
Yeah, he puts the stamp on 180.
Yeah, most definitely.
Complete 180, yeah.
That is most definitely.
Yeah.
So that's him, if not everybody else, but it's definitely him, right?
Yes.
But that's really cool how God can take someone that's so broken and so disobedient and make them whole and make them obedient and give them a heart to fish for other people that are like-minded to who they were, you know.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, that's just so cool. I've watched God do so much through the recovery community of late, you know. And I'm not knocking the churches, but I've always said we understand how hot and how dark and how mean and how cruel hell is.
Yeah.
Because we lived it for so long.
Yeah.
And so and so when God frees someone from the addiction and the chains of addiction, you want other people to come with you.
I tell you what, that's why I love doing jail ministry, because I've been there. Mm-hmm. I know what I felt like in there. You feel lost. You feel alone, you know. And if you can go in there and just give one person just a little bit of hope by sharing what you've been through, you know, what God's done in your life, and it gives them hope.
Yeah.
And that's what we pray for.
Well,
you
that-
know, it's
that
just
is
giving people
awesome.
hope. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've got to go out with you guys. It's been a while, and do breakout with you, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got involved in jail ministry when I was in Tuscaloosa, and absolutely loved it. But yeah, my jail time, my experience is laughable compared to a lot of guys that I get to minister to. But man, thank you so much for coming
Absolutely.
on with us
Absolutely.
tonight, and just hanging out a little bit. Man, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
It's been a
you
long
and-
journey.
I'm proud of you and Buki.
Buki.
You guys are doing it for the kingdom, and I'm super proud of you. We'll be praying for you guys.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, let's close in prayer, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. Father God, we thank you so much for your love and mercy. We thank you for people that love you and want to see others come to know you, Father God. I just lift up Turning Point Ministries. I speak your blessings over this house. Every woman that would be there would hear your truth, feel your love, and know the joy that comes from knowing you. And I just pray for the ladies that are leading this, that you just give them your strength and your power and your wisdom as they go through their day to day. And we thank you for this and so much more. We love you, and we thank you for loving us. It's in your awesome and holy name we pray. Guys, thank you so much
Amen.
for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We love you.